Everyone in the luxury cafe froze when the billionaire's platinum card got declined. But what happened next didn't just shock the crowd. It changed his life forever, because the only person who stepped forward wasn't rich, wasn't powerful. She was a poor little girl with torn shoes, a cracked piggy bank, and a heart bigger than the world. Jonathan Wells was a man whose name could quiet entire boardrooms. At 39, he was known as the billionaire who built half the tech empire of the country. People saw his mansion, his cars, his influence, but nobody ever truly saw him, not his loneliness, not the childhood he tried to forget, and definitely not the emptiness behind his sharp smile. This morning, Jonathan stepped into a small cafe he'd never visited before, Harper's Corner Cafe, tucked between two old bookstores. He hadn't planned to come here. His driver took a wrong turn during a traffic jam, and Jonathan decided to walk the rest of the way. Perhaps it was curiosity, or maybe fate tugging him toward the moment that would change everything. The cafe smelled of warm cinnamon and old memories. People whispered when he walked in, recognizing the face that appeared on magazines. He ordered a simple cup of coffee and a croissant, something he hadn't done by himself in years. When it was time to pay, he casually slid his platinum card across the counter. The machine beeped, declined. Everything went silent. He frowned, not understanding. He tried again, declined. His assistant wasn't here, his accountant wasn't answering, and for the first time in years, Jonathan felt the sting of embarrassment. The whispers grew louder. Is that really Jonathan Wells? Is he broke? A billionaire can't afford a coffee? He kept his posture strong, but inside something cracked. He hated humiliation. It reminded him of being the poor kid in school, wearing second-hand shoes, mocked for not affording lunch. Just as the cashier cleared her throat, about to ask him to step aside, a small voice spoke. From behind him. Excuse me, Mr. I can pay for you." Jonathan turned. Standing there was a fragile little girl, maybe 8 years old, with messy brown hair tied with a worn ribbon. Her shoes were torn at the edges, and her dress looked faded from too many washes. In her tiny hands, she held a cracked pink piggy bank. A piece of tape was holding it together. Her name, as he later learned, was Mia Carter. Jonathan blinked in confusion. "You want to pay for me?" She nodded shyly. "You look sad. And my mama says, when someone looks sad, you help them, even if you don't have much." People began recording. Some chuckled, some smiled. But Jonathan felt something no one else could see, his heart twisting painfully. "No, sweetheart, I can't let you." But Mia had already opened the piggy bank. A few coins clattered onto the counter quarters, dimes, pennies she must have saved for months. "It's okay," she said softly. "Mama says kindness always comes back." Jonathan's throat tightened. Flashbacks of his mother, a kind woman who worked 3 jobs, flooded in. She had always told him the same thing. He crouched down. "What were you saving this money for?" Mia hesitated. "A birthday cake. For my mommy, she works so hard. But you looked like you needed help more." The cafe fell silent again, but this time for another reason. This wasn't embarrassing. This was humbling. Jonathan gently pushed the coins back. "Mia, you deserve that cake. Let me take care of this." Just then, the cafe owner, Evelyn Blake, walked out, having watched the entire scene. She placed a hand on Mia's shoulder. "Her mother is sick," Evelyn whispered. "Chronic lung issues. They barely manage rent. Mia does small chores here after school to earn coins." Jonathan stared at the little girl again, the truth burning in his chest. He had everything yet felt empty. She had almost nothing, yet her heart overflowed. He paid with cash from his emergency wallet, but the moment stuck in him like a splinter he couldn't pull out. Before leaving, he asked Evelyn, "Where does she live?" "Across the street. The small yellow building." Jonathan stepped outside, but instead of heading to his office, he crossed the street and stood in front of the old building. He didn't know why, but every instinct told him to see the girl again. Inside apartment 2B, he knocked. The door opened to reveal a pale woman with soft eyes, Grace Carter, Mia's mother. She looked startled when she recognized him. "Oh, Mr. Wells, is something wrong?" she asked between gentle coughs. "No," he said softly. "Your daughter, She helped me today, and I wanted to thank you." Grace closed her eyes as if trying to hold back tears. "She has too big of a heart. I keep telling her to save, but she says kindness is more important." Jonathan smiled faintly. "She reminds me of someone I used to know." Grace's gaze softened. "Your mother?" His surprise made her chuckle lightly. Only people with that look in their eyes talk like that. They spoke for half an hour. He learned about their struggles, their hopes, their dreams. The apartment was small but filled with warmth drawings on the fridge, old books on the shelves, blankets hand-stitched with love. A home built on heart, not money. Before leaving, Mia tugged at Jonathan's sleeve. "Did kindness come back yet?" Jonathan knelt. "Not yet, but I have a feeling it will." The next morning, Jonathan canceled all his meetings. Instead, he arranged visits with doctors, legal teams, financial advisors. He wanted to help, but not with charity. He wanted dignity, opportunity, and security for Mia and Grace. 3 days later, he returned to their apartment, carrying news that would change their lives. He offered Grace a full medical treatment plan covered completely. He offered her a flexible job at his company, using her skills in bookkeeping. He offered Mia a scholarship to the best school in the city, no conditions, no obligations. Grace broke into tears. Mia hugged him tightly, whispering, "Mama said kindness comes back, but I didn't know it." "Comes back this big." Jonathan chuckled. But inside, he felt something break open, something he had buried for too long. For the first time in years, he didn't feel like Jonathan Wells, the untouchable billionaire. He felt human again. And all because a little girl with a cracked piggy bank gave him something he hadn't felt in decades, kindness without reason. Months passed. Grace grew stronger. Mia thrived in school, winning hearts wherever she went. And Jonathan? He visited often, not because they needed him, but because he needed them. One evening, Mia handed him a small gift, a new pink piggy bank. "I want you to save something too," she said, "not money, but moments, good ones." Jonathan swallowed, emotions burning his eyes. "I will." Years later, when Mia graduated with honors, Jonathan sat in the front row, clapping with a pride he couldn't hide. And when people whispered, "Why is a billionaire so close to that girl?" he simply smiled. Because they would never understand. A little girl made of kindness saved him the day his card declined. Not financially, but spiritually, emotionally, completely. And Jonathan Wells never forgot the day a poor little girl did the unthinkable and gave him back his heart.